This is the single worst mistake you can make when you're writing a secondary essay for med school. I've been helping people write secondaries and get into med school for 10 years, and I see this every single year. The problem happens when somebody looks at a secondary essay prompt, and they have a bunch of ideas, and they write in a sort of rambling way about things related to the idea in the prompt, but they don't directly address the prompt. For example, the secondary might say, "Tell me about a time you overcame hardship." Their first sentence will be, "It was a dark night at 2 a.m. when Susie came into the emergency department." You've already lost the reader's attention because you haven't given them a signal that you're going to answer the question. You just started telling a random story. Zooming out a little bit, you can imagine how many people choose to recycle essays, and one of the things that happens is people just dump paragraphs that they wrote for other things that didn't make it into the personal statement, for example, without really curating it to address the prompt. So when you've been reading a bunch of these things and you see that approach where it's not clear why something's being brought up, there's this sense of, ugh, it's happening again. I don't know if I'm going to get an answer to the question. The second reason why people mess this up is because after you read the prompt, you still have to think about what we spoke about in episode 1, which is how are you going to use this prompt strategically to bring in something that you want to discuss. Again, let's look at this "tell me about a time you overcame hardship" or "tell me about a time you failed" type essay. This is not a confessional. So you might start writing about a time you failed, but you haven't yet come up with the idea for how you're going to spin it in a way that adds value. The hidden prompt behind this prompt is "tell me how you overcame that failure. How did you grow? What did you learn?" Now, let's say that you have sat and thought about what you want to put in this essay. You're going to want to, in the first couple of lines, describe what the essay is actually about. An example of how you might start a response to a question like this is, "My experience with such and such taught me this, this, and this." And then you build out the rest of the secondary to substantiate those 3 points. In other words, you tell them immediately in the first lines that you are going to directly address the prompt, and you set up the frame for how you're going to address it. That way, as they go forward reading the rest of the essay, they know what they should be paying attention to and how they should be interpreting it based on your intent. Obeying this one cardinal rule of always directly addressing the prompt right out the gate goes a long way to demonstrating to admissions committees that you have excellent communication skills. And this is just one of the many tips and tricks that have been helping my clients write excellent secondaries for 10 years. If you're applying to med school this year and you want more, please follow my page because more's coming. And you can check out the link in my bio if you're interested in having myself or a member of my team review your work.